The presidential debate tonight will feature two people who are not afraid to be colorful at times. Joe Biden, who knows how to get under his opponent's skin.
It's been done before. It's precisely what we're proposing.
It has never been done before.
It's been done a couple of times, actually.
It has never been
Jack
done
Kennedy
before.
lowered tax rates, increased growth. Ronald Reagan.
Now you're Jack Kennedy.
Ronald Reagan.
And Donald Trump, who is not going to stop fighting.
I wrote about that in...
You called it the gold standard. You called it the gold standard of trade deals. You said it's the finest deal you've ever seen.
No.
And then you heard what I said about it, and all of a sudden you were against it.
Well, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Pastor Greg Locke of the Global Vision Bible Church in Tennessee believes there is one issue tonight that was not the case when Biden debated Paul Ryan or even Sarah Palin. He believes the former VP won't even be able to perform.
I'm not convinced at all that the debate is even going to happen. And I believe something's going to happen with, it's going to be a COVID-related issue or a scheduling conflict. I do not think that the handlers of Joe Biden, because he's not in control, he's not handling his own stuff. I do not believe that they're going to allow it to take place. They know it's going to be a fall down the steps massacre. There's no possible way that man could ever be able to debate Donald Trump.
ALG President Rick Manning agrees. Trump will look very good tonight.
Nancy Pelosi saying, oh, he shouldn't even debate. They're trying to lower the bar so low that if he shows up and he's able to stumble through his words and he doesn't collapse on stage, that he's succeeded. Truth of the matter is Joe Biden should be on top of these issues because he's been doing them for over 40 years. He's been doing them wrong. He's been wrong for 40 years, but he's been doing them for 40 years.
Locke says he doubts the church will be much of a topic, if at all, tonight, though it would be nice to hear a question about whether Christianity would flourish.
I wish they would, because, everybody thinks Joe Biden's some amazing, wonderful, stand-up Christian type of individual. He's a half-hearted Catholic, but if they were to ask Donald Trump that, I'm on Evangelicals for Trump advisory board, and he's surrounded himself with some very good faith leaders, some very solid, doctrinally sound people. He may need to mature and grow in his faith, but I'm convinced he has some faith, and I believe he would knock that out of the park, because if he's been anything, he's been a friend to Bible believers. He's been a friend to the evangelical community. So I would celebrate it if they asked that question, because he would come out smelling like a rose.
Manning says look for trade to be a key issue in the debate. He wants us to take note of Trump's decision to withdraw the U.S. from the Trans-Pacific Partnership almost as soon as he took office.
So what you're looking at with TPP was really the prime example of the difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Donald Trump wants our trade deals to benefit America and to benefit America's workers. Joe Biden wants our trade deals to benefit multinationals and to hurt American workers and drive our jobs overseas. Joe Biden's done this with NAFTA, which he supported, which President Trump ended, and created a better trade deal in USMCA, which will increase auto jobs in America, unlike NAFTA. Biden has been a big advocate of China in terms of providing them access to our markets while we didn't have access to theirs. And in fact, has allowed China to cheat on that deal repeatedly, since he was, in fact, vice president for 8 years and was responsible for China policy. So remember, when you think about what happened with China in terms of their cheating and having our jobs shift overseas to China, they're stealing our intellectual property. 8 years of that was on Joe Biden's watch as the Obama administration point person to China. And the only American who benefited from that was Hunter Biden.
With businesses dropping like flies, Manning also hopes Americans pay close attention to the debate on reopening the economy.
The fact is that Joe Biden is all too willing to wave his magic political wand and shut down the U.S. economy. There's about 10 states that are Democrat-controlled states which remain almost completely shut down. And as a result, we haven't seen a revival in terms of economic revival in those states. And yet those are the same states who the Democrats keep whining need to be bailed out by the federal government, by the taxpayers, because they're keeping their states shut down. That's the reality. We have higher unemployment, dramatically higher unemployment in those states than we do in the states that have reopened, even to some small degree. And if those states were engaged in some basic reopening, just allowing some restaurants to be open and the like, what you would see is you'd see our unemployment down around 6% already. They have artificially pumped up the unemployment rate and helped try to submarine the economy. And I believe they tried to submarine the economy, not because of public health, but because they can't afford for Donald Trump to have a great economy heading into this election.
Pastor Locke says, once again, in this election year, there is a massive movement on mainstream media and social media to shut down conservative views. This, even though we're a center-right Christian nation.
All the social media platforms, they're pretty much letting us know that they're going to shadow ban us and, take us down if we say anything that's going to jeopardize, what they would consider, jeopardizing the election. But conservative censorship is a massive problem in the American media. There's no doubt about that. Christian conservative censorship is even a more massive issue. Between our two pages, we have just almost 3 million followers. And so we've really learned the algorithms of how they work. I'll tell you, it's worse on Twitter right now than anywhere else, but Facebook is really following suit. We've been in Facebook jail many times. Our videos get shadow banned. I just did one live a little while ago. I'm shocked I haven't already got a message about it, about standing for the police. And Facebook has let me know on a number of occasions, you're very close to having your page banned or taken away altogether because you just can't say these things because you're, determining the outcome of an election. No, I'm just trying to stand up for what's right.
Locke believes Biden will see this type of slanting, but not against him, for him.
The other day, calling the military, stupid bastards. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. And his campaign manager had to come out and say, yeah, it was not doctored. It wasn't edited. He said it a while back. And then everybody's like, well, maybe it's not what he meant. Or are you sure that's what he said? Well, he only said it to one person. And I'm like, anything the guy does, they try to justify and make it better than what it is. And anything good Donald Trump does or says, they try to vilify it and demonize it. So social media is going to be a buzz trying to make Joe Biden look out to be a princess in this whole thing.
Rick Manning agrees social media will be a buzz, and he recommends you use it to logjam any censorship.
Let's beat them with volume. Let's put so many positive statements about what the president is doing in real time in that debate. So many positive comments that the Twitter censors don't have a chance to deal with it, that the Facebook censors don't have a chance to deal with it.
Manning also says Trump needs to put on a solid performance that cannot be denied as it airs.
He needs to show he's got command, he knows what's going on, and that the attacks by Joe Biden are in fact false. Because the truth of the matter is, the attacks are false. What people have to remember about Joe Biden is his record is one of getting us into this mess, not one of being able to get us out of this mess. So the bar should be significantly higher for Joe Biden. And the president is the president. He's still not a politician. And so he's not going to come across as a politician. And we'll see how that looks in a compare and contrast in a debate.
Manning also wants you to have a solid performance tonight.
The debate tonight is going to be extraordinarily important, more important than any first debate has ever been in history, because ballots are actually in voters' hands. And so it's important that if you want to be heard on this, that you make certain that everybody who you can reach knows what you think now, and you're using your circle of influence to make a difference. Remember, it may not matter for a lot of people what happens in the second debate if they've already voted in the first. They don't get to take their vote back. So let's be active now, let's be aggressive now, and let's make certain that everybody we know knows exactly what happened in that debate and what was important in terms of the difference between a president who stood for American workers and a vice president who has never in his whole entire history stood for American workers, even though he pretended to do so.
Frank McCaffrey reporting for Americans for Limited Government.